Okay, we are back in this Mammalian Histology class. This is TYBSc Zoology, paper 2, semester 1. Here today we'll see from the syllabus 3.8 topic kidney, lateral sections will describe in detail, and the structure of nephron and structure of juxtaglomeralar complex histology will see in detail. This kidney is organ with highly complex histological structure and very complex functions. But as per the syllabus, will confine to structure of nephron and juxtaglomerular complex. Okay, little bit introduction of this mammalian kidney. It lies in an abdominal cavity and covered by a sheet of connective tissues. There it is attached with the wall of a dorsal side of mesenteries. In man kidney, it is located little slightly lower level and around 10 lakhs of nephrons are present in each kidney. This kidney, functional unit of this kidney is called as a nephron. It is also called as a uriniferous tubule. This uriniferous tubule comprises Malpighian body and tubule systems. Now here in front of us there is a photograph of this kidney, diagrammatic presentation of this kidney. First we'll see a different label in this diagram. So this is a bean shaped structure and this is an opening. It is called as a hilus through which these blood arteries and veins. It is called as a renal artery and renal vein, and they goes inside this kidney, and this one tube come outside the kidney, that is called as a ureter. So through these arteries and vein, blood exchange take place between the kidney, and whatever the urine form, that is poured outside in a bladder through this ureter. So this is a hilus portions. Now this kidney, if you carefully see, you will find there is a distinct two zones are formed. This one is a middle zone and this is a peripheral zone. Now this peripheral zone is called as a renal cortex. Okay. So this is peripheral zone called as a renal cortex, and here it's a medulla portion. This is between the orange color only, you will see two distinct zones. Somewhere you will find these striations, that is striations are called as a medullary rays, and that is the actual nephron, site of a nephron, and these are the renal column, and this entire portions which comprises this medullary rays and renal column, that is called as the medulla portion. And on peripheral side where there is no striations and these dots are shown here, that is the renal cortex portion. So whenever we say renal cortex, here what is this central portion called? It is called as a calyx. Calyx is a kind of a folding, or you say it's a bunch where all collecting tubules comes together. So this minor calyx, and where 2-3 minor calyx come together, that is a major calyx, and these calyx things come together to form a renal pelvis, and which then lead into the ureter. Okay, so if you start tracing the kidney from ureter side, you will find the ureter opens into the renal pelvis open into this major calyx, then major calyx open into the minor calyx then open into the collecting tubule, then that uriniferous tubule, and it leads to the up to Malpighian body, and that way this kidney is formed. The functional unit of kidney is a Malpighian body or nephron. Now, what rest cellular portion is a matrix. It is full of connective tissues, blood supply. You will find every smallest corner of this kidney tissue is full with blood supply. This is a site where our blood get filtered and it separate that excretory product and water from our blood, which is then uh, goes out as a urine. In human body, this is the location of a kidney. It is located far towards the back side and little bit at the lower abdominal cavity. They are kept back in the surrounding mesenteries and they have a layer of fat around the kidneys, which gives them suspension kind of uh, structures. And here you see this, these are all that pyramids and rays where actual nephrons are located, and this cortex portions and the medulla portions, all these are blue color are the veins and arteries. Now you must remember exactly whenever we say medulla portion and cortex portion, because this nephron, a single functional unit of kidney, spread from this renal pelvis up to the cortex. Some part of a nephron lies between the medulla, some part lies in a cortex, and some tubules open into the pelvis. So, while describing histology of a kidney, you cannot separately take section of this cortex or only medulla or renal pelvis, and you will not find entire nephron located in any of these region. So we have to understand, we have to imagine a three-dimensional structure of this nephron, and while studying actual slide we will see how we can correlate the presence of this nephron section into the different region. So here see this middle portion, I hope you will remember that blue color portion is a medulla and the surrounding yellow portion is a cortex and middle portion is a renal pelvis. Now, when we say cortex with relation to the nephron, what it comprises? It comprises Malpighian body and proximal convoluted tubule and distal convoluted tubule. Now, I am directly using this word without showing you that tubule system, because on 11, 12, somewhere you have learned detailed structure of this nephron and you are well acquainted with this terminology. It is a PCT, DCT, distal convoluted tubule, proximal convoluted tubule, Malpighian body. So the point is, in cortex what you will find is only a Malpighian body, proximal convoluted tubule and distal convoluted tubules. Then in a medulla portions you will find loop of Henle and collecting tubules. These medulla pyramids are present, which forms the group of loop of Henle and collecting tubules. Do you remember these lines? These lines represent a loop of Henle and collecting tubules. So it shows a striations like a structure. And in a renal pelvis, not major part of a nephron is there, except a collection of a collecting tubules is there. Now here is an actual color photograph of a kidney in large in a less magnified view, where you can see the complete pyramid structure in a kidney. Okay, so we'll stress here what we just discussed, that cortex is a cortex portion and medulla portion and the calyx portion. So here in cortex, in this region, you will find all that Bowman capsule, Malpighian body, glomerulus, then distal convoluted tubule, proximal convoluted tubule. As you goes to other medulla, here all lining you will see, or large tubules cut into the section you will see. So many times a vertical tube cut, a tube cut into the vertical plane you will see in this medulla portions. That tubes are all that collecting tubules and loop of. Whereas in cortex portion you will see a tube cut into the horizontal plane. So you will see a round bead-like structure lining internally with the epithelial cells and all that tissues. So in while scanning this slide under microscope, how you can judge that this is a kidney? See here, there are no round structures are seen, but instead it is a oblique and long structures, that is a tube cut into the vertical plane, and here you will see more round structures, more and more round structure. That means the tubes are cut into the horizontal plane, and so here all that tubules system, convoluted and proximal tubule system and glomerulus lies in a cortex, and here there is a medulla where all major loop of endless duct and collecting ducts are present. Now again here, just to revise how this nephron arranged in a kidney is, in a cortex portion you will find glomerulus, Bowman capsule, proximal and distal convoluted tubules. In case of this middle pyramidal structure, that is the medulla portions, you will find loop of Henle's, collecting duct, then pyramids, that is the large portions, and the columns. But from nephron relations, our important point is the loop of Henle collecting duct you will find in this region. In a renal pelvis, what you will see is a hilus, that is the opening portion, large portion, which is collecting opening of all that major and minor calyx. Then these calyx, which are the small branches coming from the different part of a kidney. Now, one more point I want to show you here is what we have heard about the kidney stone. That stones are like this. You can see here these white structures. These are the stones. When we say that kidney stone happen in the medical cases, these kidney stones are distributed like this in our body. Okay, forget about that. So kidney, in the kidney section, what you have to see here is a glomerulus, that is in a Bowman capsule. In the start of Malpighian tubule, you will find this glomerulus is there, which is dense clump of capillaries, blood capillaries. Then proximal convoluted tubules, that is a after Bowman capsules, the neck portions you will find there is a origin of this proximal convoluted tubule, which is first part of a nephron. So it is called as a proximal, and descending loop of nephron, that is a thick segment and thin segment portion is there, that descending, then ascending loop of nephron. Okay, that is again thick segment and thin segment and distal convoluted tubules. Now this middle portion is a loop of Henle. In loop of Henle again you will find initially the tube goes down, so they term it as a descending loop. In descending loop again you will find there is a slight variations in a that epithelial layer. So it forms some thick segment and some part is a thin. Once it gives a hairpin turn, that loop, that is what is a loop, and it start going upwards. So it is now termed as a ascending loop. There again you will find these thick segment and thin segment portions. Then these Henle's loops then end into another tube with a little different histological structures where there is a cuboidal cell epithelial layers start appearing. That portion is called as the distal convoluted tubule. Now this tubule again goes back towards the glomerulus. That means towards the Bowman capsule. So it goes upward again toward the cortex portions. And so we see this distal convoluted tubule, proximal convoluted tubule in a cortex, and we see these nephron loops in a medulla portions. Again, this distal convoluted tubule, by touching, slightly touching with the Bowman capsule, it comes back towards the middle portion, that is medulla, and join with the collecting tubule. So we see collecting tubule in a medulla portion of a kidney, and thereafter that vasa recta, which is a major collecting duct. Okay, so just what we discussed in that text slide here we can confirm. So this is a renal lobules. So here you see, I think we start tracing it from the glomerulus Bowman capsule. So this is a Bowman capsule. in which there is a glomerulus, and this is what? This is a which tube? Proximal convoluted tubule, because it is very near to the Bowman capsule. So it's a proximal convoluted tubule. Then leads into this hairpin structure, that is nephron. Sorry, that is Henle's loop. Okay, so this is a Henle's loop, and again it goes towards the nephron. So this is ascending. This is ascending tube. Okay, so here proximal convoluted tubule. Then this is a distal convoluted tubule, and it joins to the collecting tubule here. Now see this dash line is demark the medulla portion here, and above to this is the cortex portion. But not all the nephrons loop of Henle enter into the medulla portions, but some remain in a cortex only. So that kind of nephrons, they are cortex nephron, and these are the medullary nephrons are there. Different types of nephron you will see in a kidney on the basis of their location present in cortex or medulla. Okay, so here one point we have to discuss with respect to our syllabus is the juxtamedullary nephron, because it forms a JG complex with this distal convoluted tubule. Okay. Once there is a proximal convoluted tubule comes into the medulla portions, form the loop of Henle. When it goes back again into the cortex, it slightly touches to this glomerulus artery and veins. So it passes very near to the glomerulus artery and vein and continue as a distal tubule. So the wall of this distal convoluted tubule are in close contact with this artery wall and veins wall of a glomerulus, and there they form one complex, a very specific complex which produce the hormones, and that hormones are very responsible for the maintenance of blood pressure, that called as a JG complex or juxtaglomerular complex. That we'll see in detail, and we'll see in detail the histology of this nephron. Now this is a section magnified views of a kidney, LS, TS. In any way, if you cut this kidney, you will find a very similar kind of architectures. So here, in next few slides, we will see all these color photograph to make you acquaint with how actually this nephron look like when you see the histological slides. Now, in this photograph, if you carefully see here, now this is a this color structure, this structure, all these four bead like crumble structure are different in this view. Then this is another structure, this is again one more structure you will see here, and rest are all these zigzag line and uneven um, tubes cut into different planes. Okay, so to distinguish what these structure are, now see here you we can see the lot of RBC accumulated inside, and if you carefully observe here, it seems like it is a artery, blood vessels. It seems like it is a blood vessels in which there is a lot of RBCs are trapped. Okay, and you see this endothelial layer and the muscular layer. So we can designate this structure as a artery. And here the similar structures, endothelial layers and this empty space, some few RBC you may see there. So this is a vein. So these two are blood vessels. So we eliminate this thing from our view. Now we concentrate on this structure. Here you will find a very differently stained structure. A very much violet dot here you will see. That violet dot indicates the some large nucleus present, and there is no such as such a tube cut in a section, but it shows a round structure. Now, all these round structures are what is a glomerulus, a renal capsule. What we learn is a Bowman capsule. This is a Bowman capsule. Bowman capsules, and all this internal portion is that glomerulus cut into the various plane. Okay, so all these scattered glomerulus or renal capsules, Bowman capsules you will see here. And what else is there, this portion? These are all that distal and proximal convoluted tubule cut into vertical plane. Sometimes it cut into the horizontal plane. So their length is very high, long, and they are kept in a very compact fashion. So you will find sometimes it is a round structure, sometimes very elongated structures are there. Now in medulla portions, you will find majority are vertically cut tubes. So this area where there is a lot of collecting tubules and Henle's loops are cut in sections. Again, when you magnify this, you will find a cellular structure, that is tissue portions among these tubes are different. Here all tubes are mostly in a squamous epithelial lining, and here majority are cuboidal epithelial lining you will see. This is again another slide. Here you will see this renal corpuscle and collecting tubule. Now collecting tubules are cut in a vertical plane. So I hope you will able to imagine the three-dimensional structure of this nephron. Okay, so all these are the glomerulus and the neck portion of glomerulus, then their collecting tubules and sorry, their proximal and distal tubule system, and here is a collecting tubule.